Real Madrid is one of the wealthiest sports clubs on the planet, with revenues exceeding €700 million in the 2019-2020 season despite the pandemic. And wealthy clubs often belong to wealthy owners, like Abramovich of Chelsea before, John Henry of Liverpool, and many others. Many people mistakenly believe that Real Madrid operates similarly since they have a billionaire president, Florentino Perez. However, the reality is quite different. In this video, let's explore who really owns one of the biggest clubs on the planet. Firstly, if you didn't know, one of Real Madrid's regulations affirms that the club is owned and operated by a council called socios, where all the fans of the Royal Club can participate. Simply put, Real Madrid isn't owned by any individual or organization. Its structure is more like a non-profit organization. In other words, all the profits they make annually, after balancing expenses like buying players and paying salaries, are reinvested into building the club. The members of the council oversee activities and can vote on important decisions. So who are these council members? They are fans who pay an annual fee to become members. Council members must pay nearly €150 each year to maintain their membership, granting them voting rights and other privileges with the club. In the annual report for the 2020-2021 season published by Real Madrid, it was mentioned that 91,701 people were members. This number could rise to 100,000 in the current season. However, money alone isn't enough to become a member. To join, you must be endorsed by 2 existing members, similar to a sponsorship. And if you remain a loyal member for 50 years, you no longer have to pay the fee. In addition to voting in presidential and board elections, members benefit from ticket sales and feel like a part of the club's structure. In Spain, only 4 clubs operate this way: Real Madrid, Barcelona, Athletic Bilbao, and Osasuna. All other clubs in Spain operate under the SAD model, which stands for Sociedad Anónima Deportiva, meaning a limited sports company in Spanish. This stems from a 1990 law that significantly impacted club ownership. The law required Spanish sports clubs, not just football clubs, to issue public shares from the summer of 1992. The aim was to enhance club quality and protect their revenues. Previously, almost all clubs in Spain operated like Real Madrid does now, so public share issuance was a measure to ensure better responsibility and governance. However, there was an exemption clause that Real Madrid and 3 other clubs utilized to continue their operations as they are today. The 7th supplementary provision of the law stated that any club that could prove it had been profitable in all 5 seasons before 1985-86 could continue to be managed by a fan council. At that time, only Real Madrid, Barcelona, Osasuna, and Athletic Bilbao could demonstrate this, and thus were exempted from the 1990 law. So, what can the council members actually do? Every 4 years, council members vote for the club president, who will manage the club's activities during their term. However, not all tens or even hundreds of thousands of council members participate in the election process. A General Assembly of only 2,000 representative members votes for the new president. Additionally, the General Assembly can approve and pass the annual budget and contribute opinions on other decisions that may affect the club's long-term future, such as building a new stadium. In practice, Real Madrid's operational method can face difficulties if not well managed. A club managed by a fan council requires specific rules and responsibilities for the president and the club's board of directors. Real Madrid cannot raise capital in the usual way a publicly owned company might. They can't float shares or conduct an IPO, nor can they raise money by selling shares. Instead, they must rely on the club's revenue. Matt Slater of The Athletic explains, "They can inject money through increasing membership or other fundraising efforts, but that would cause problems with financial fair play regulations." Simply put, if Real Madrid relied only on member contributions, it would be no different from billionaire owners investing in a club. Although fundamentally different, both methods are considered violations of UEFA's financial fair play rules. Instead, the club must rely on broadcasting rights, ticket sales, player sales, merchandise sales, and other commercial transactions. However, this is not really a big issue for Real Madrid. The Royal Club alone had revenues close to 1/3 of La Liga's total revenue in the 2021-2022 season. Specifically, with over £600 million earned last season, Real Madrid was the world's second highest earning club, only after Man City. La Liga's total revenue for the same period was about £1.8 billion. One of Real Madrid's well-exploited revenue sources is the Champions League. After their victory against Liverpool in the Champions League final last year, Real Madrid pocketed over €120 million in prize money. According to ESPN, in previous seasons, with either a championship win or deep runs, the Royal Club earned substantial amounts from UEFA. They also increase revenue through player sales. This is how Real Madrid can post after-tax profits, albeit small, while most major European clubs are losing money. With its vast image and influence, Real Madrid generates enormous annual revenue from broadcasting rights and commercial deals. Moreover, the club can borrow money to pay salaries or for long-term projects like stadium renovations, often at preferential interest rates from local banks due to its communal ownership nature. Local authorities and even the government want them to grow to represent the region or country. Real Madrid once borrowed from the Spanish government due to the pandemic. Additionally, as a non-publicly listed organization, Real Madrid can benefit from non-profit investment loans from banks, thereby enjoying more favorable interest rates. With all these factors, Real Madrid hasn't faced any significant difficulties in operating its club so far. Author Stephen George Mandis wrote in his book, The Madrid, "I truly believe that when an organization focuses on community values and expectations while developing strategies, it can foster extraordinary loyalty and passion. And when this passion and loyalty are carefully, positively, and regularly nurtured, they can lead to equally extraordinary commercial success." For those running the club, especially the president, what role do they play beyond managing the club? According to the 7th supplementary provision, Los Blancos presidents must be able to provide 15% of the club's annual revenue as a bank guarantee each season. This guarantee can become a legal responsibility if the club faces insurmountable financial crises. The president, 5% of the council members through voting, or the federation itself, can require the president to pay this amount to save the club in difficult times. This means to run for president or be appointed to the board, one must be very wealthy. Florentino Perez, the current president of Real Madrid, has a reported net worth of about $2.4 billion according to Forbes, so he certainly has the financial capability to fulfill his obligations as the club president. Looking back at history, Real Madrid's former presidents were also very wealthy individuals. Fernando Martín once held 8% shares in two of Spain's largest banks, BSCH and BBVA. And Ramon Calderón owned assets worth €2.3 billion. Although on paper, the council members can determine the club's direction with their votes in the presidential election, the power almost entirely concentrates in the hands of the elected president and his board of directors for the next 4 years. This creates a situation where only a certain wealthy class can hold these positions. Due to the 15% rule, Perez or future presidential candidates, if they fail to make correct decisions or manage finances poorly, could lead to significant difficulties for the club, given its self-reliant revenue model. But fortunately, up to now, Florentino Perez has been performing his duties excellently, developing the club with the right strategies and fostering sustainable growth. By operating the club in a fan-centric way, Real Madrid can maintain competitive success while preserving its culture, mission, and core values in the long term. These values will further garner more support, creating a stronger community and bringing even more benefits to Los Blancos.